Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Vader Games in the building. You know what it is. You know what it is. Okay. First things first. My peoples come first. And my peoples, thank you so much for being a part of the show live or on a replay. We got another episode. And this is episode 12. This is episode 12 of CIA Intelligent Agendas. And it's a special episode. You see it right there. Week 38. Week 38. Let me make sure I send out the link to the peeps. Let me make sure I do that. My bad. And let me also see who's in the building, who's here in the comments first. You know, the love that happens in the comments. Who was the first one in the mix? Let me see who it is. It is FIFA. What it do? No more Cancelo. Kind of made sense. How do you get shipped out and still look to be remained amongst the mix? Doesn't quite work for me. I'm with you, FIFA. Thanks for being the first in the comments. Those of you that are here live, thank you so very much. I didn't post a question in the poll question or Q&A, but I do want to ask each and every one of you. I want to ask you all right there. Weakest and strongest moments as a fan. Hit me up in the comments. That's what the majority of what we're going to be discussing today. It's going to be a great show because, again, our season's not over. I'm not doing any play reviews. I'm not doing anything like that. We still got 2 games to play. How am I going to do a review? That's for the other clubs. That's for the other clubs that aren't playing right now. No shade, no salt, but they happen not to be playing right now. They can do their play reviews. We still have a season going. What else you got, FIFA? FIFA goes, Cancelo destroyed Danilo's. Cancelo, one could say, who got the better deal? Danilo, if he had remained here, Pep find a role for him the way he's running the system right now, one could argue. But Cancelo put in the work that he needed to at the time, and it wasn't ready to fight for that playing time or adjust to the system that Pep wanted. He's out the door. Mancunian Way in the building. He goes, good evening. Hope all is well. The legend is back. Thank you so much. I had to adjust the schedule a little bit. I don't like missing on these CIAs because even when I put a lot of time and thought in terms of how to kind of develop the show, scheduling is challenging, especially on how things work out with all of us making content ourselves, family life, work life. So I don't like missing out on this show. And I think definitely know for the 2023-2024 season, it's going to be a lot more consistent. Obviously, we wouldn't be at week 38 with only 12 episodes. We're going to do this from the very jump, and we're going to get into a better system 100%. But thanks for being in the comments, Martin. Getting Danilo back is what FIFA's saying. Man, I think that ship has sailed, man. That ship has sailed. Martin agrees. Danilo Y. Exactly. Dre P in the building. Hey guys, the match versus Brentford proves the squad isn't as deep as the media pushes. Had to protect players for the finals. Dre P, 100%. We talked about this on previous shows where I was literally going to put up our key, the starting 11, the 11 that Pep, go to trusted, especially with regards to this UCL and the final point of the season. And then we'll compare it to the remaining players on that bench. Yeah, there's quality in some positions, but in some key areas, we don't have it. I do like how the players played versus Brentford. I do. Don't shoot me, but Phillips, I like what I saw. I like what I saw from Phillips. Palmer, he can't play in the middle of the pitch. Not yet. I think we need to see more of him on that left wing. Even on the right wing, I like his trickery. I like how he forces defenders to have to answer what he does. And I did like what I saw from there. And, Bowden, Alvarez, that's all calm. Mahrez, that's all calm. But Phillips and Palmer in particular. Rico, I trust Rico, man. Strength, he needs to get a little strength. On top of that, I know I'm rambling, but Rico, some of the decisions when the ball comes to foot, I don't want him kind of spraying it out, like clearing it out. One, he's not getting enough depth on it. And two, I'd rather him actually have those clearances, but pick a sideline, get it out safely. Too many times it kicked it to the opponents and they were still coming back down on us. Daniel in the building. Big up Vader. 3 flames, 3 blue hearts. Thanks for the comment, man. Now, this is what I want to point out. And hopefully you guys are letting me know in the comments. Take your time, craft your idea. I'm going to put the fixture list on screen. Maybe that will help you. But I want to know the weakest and strongest moments as a fan. We can all hold our hands up, right? We can say, you know what, this season was tough. Season had some doubt. The season had us wondering, can Arsenal keep that pace? They came out of the blocks blistering fast. Are they going to fade at all? Will we catch them? Those moments, when were you weakest? When were you wondering, can Pep get it together? Will the players step up? Or do the players have winning, quote unquote, winning fatigue? All they're going to be looking at is the trophies at the end of the season versus winning this league. When did you have those? And when were you weakest? When were you strongest? Okay, I'm fighting off a sneeze. It's hay fever season. Apologies. My bad. My bad. Should have had a glass of water. But I want to know weakest and strongest moments. Let me go back to the comments. FIFA. I want him back. He's a beast. Nah, sorry, FIFA. I hear you. You can want him back. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. I'm going to be real with you. He's not coming back. Dr. Footy, today I feel champion of Europe. That feeling is going to get stronger as we march closer and closer to that date. June 3rd. Am I messing up? June 3rd, and then we got June 10th. So we got to deal with this with the UCL after dealing with the FA Cup. And shameless plug, shameless diverting or hiding away from the conversation. But I will discuss, and you know what? The magic of it, I'm going to put this on screen. Let me do this. Let me do that. Because I can. You know what? Here's the beauty that I can do that. Let me do the quick thing. Check this out real quick. I'm gonna make this special. Never done before on CIA. Boom. This is what we're going to be discussing on Thursday. This is what we're going to be discussing. Need this FA Cup win. We need it. We need it for many reasons. Many reasons, which I will discuss on Thursday. Not discussing today on CIA. So let me go back. But I'm with you. Having that feeling is cool, but we got a couple things ahead of us. Now, let me continue to go on, and I see the comments filling up. Mancuniway goes, what has changed your mind, FIFA, on Cancelo? I'm curious. Martin, he mocked. I don't know. I don't know. Daniel, we need to talk about these fools, these arrogant people. They want to take credit away from Haaland, who has done nothing no striker in the Premier League has done, and hype up that English loser. Now, Daniel, I'm with you with the energy. I'm with you with addressing these fools. And it's difficult at times because I do get back at them, especially over Twitter, but I'm trying to save that energy. I'm trying to save that energy because of this FA and UCL coming up. Because that's when I think I can hit them a lot harder with the points that I want to make. Because we know that their points are weak. Them trying to discredit or try to quote unquote swap out a player they've been doing this for years. Oh, take out so and so, they would have the same amount of success at City. No. And there's a reason why Haaland is doing something that past greats at City haven't done under Pep. Haaland's also doing things that no other player has done with their quote unquote respected great managers elsewhere. Now, I made this point early on Why Always Me, that Haaland's goal scoring record has to amount for something. It has to qualify. It has to lead to something impactful, because absolute salt, absolute shade. Sorry for those of you that are Liverpool fans, but you and all your praise of Mohamed Salah, all of it, continue to talk about his goal scoring, whether he passes the eye test or not. In all fairness, he was probably the first player in the Premier League where they were like, oh, his goal, he can score goals, but when you look at him as a complete player, he's limited. Right now, they're trying to paint the same picture on the same player, on a different player, using the same brush to be like, Haaland, he's not that complete player. He doesn't score a goal. He scores goals, but he doesn't have that complete game. They did that to Salah. But now here's why I have complete salt, complete shade over what Salah did. Go back and check it out. If you don't believe me, look it up yourselves. Salah, debut season. Salah, goal-scoring, record-breaking debut season, 17-18. Amounted for no hardware. He essentially did a Harry Kane in terms of, he scored all these goals, but it meant nothing. There was no trophy attached to it. None. And that's the one thing that I was absolutely adamant that I did not want for Haaland. Erling Haaland and what he's doing, it's going to qualify. It's going to attribute to a trophy. And it earned him a Premier League trophy, record-breaking season. And Pep also load managed him as well. Let me scale you back, young boy. Let me keep you hungry. Let me not have you exert all that energy throughout the game. The game's in hand. It's in control. We don't need you on here for a full 90 minutes. What Haaland did is that much more impressive because it broke a record, whether it was a 38-week season or what was it, a 44-week season. He broke a record and he got hardware for it. That much more impressive. As a City fan, we should all be talking about that if we're dealing with any type of banter from Liverpool fans when they want to talk about Haaland as a player. Weakest, strongest, in what context? In the context of when did you have the most doubt? As a City fan, when did you have the most doubt about this season with regards to, could we be good enough to win the league? Could we be good enough to challenge for a possible treble? When, and I say possible treble, notice how I speak. I said the word, but possible. When did you have that weakest time in the season with regards to you looked at maybe you looked at a result or you looked at upcoming games and you're like, we don't have it. I need to see more. What are we doing in the transfer window? Did you have what moment was that for you? Let me see what Daniel says. Weakest and strongest moments this season or overall? Weakest and strongest moments this season. When were you at your weakest, Daniel Martin? I'll share with you when I was like, Woo! Tough. Not seeing it from a few players. They need to fix up. The system that Pep's got going, inverted, I don't know. He's got to change it. When were you at your weakest? FIFA goes too easy. Two easy wins incoming. I love FIFA and the confidence, man. I love him in the comments. Let me do this before I continue to go to the comments, but I see you. I'm going to put this on screen. Let me go here. Oh, what did I do here? Oh, my bad. Let me do this. And this is going to be, I'm going to make sure that this is a really short and sweet show, guys, because I want to make sure that I give you the best use of your time. All right, let me put this on screen. There we go. All right. Where's that coming from? Yeah, it's working anyways. All right, let me do this. Actually, no, I got to find it. Oh, that's why. Cool. All right, boom. FIFA with the 2 easy wins incoming. Now, let me say this. We look at, I'm going to scroll through just as a reminder. So we're all on the same page and we're going through this. Okay. And why am I over here? I should be over here. Okay. So I'm going to scroll through the fixture list as we can see that. Let me scroll here. I don't know why it went to there. Let me go back. Very first game would have been the Community Shield. Okay, there it is. Community Shield to kick off the season. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hated losing to Liverpool. Did we play the greatest? No, you could see that still trying to get things going. This is the beauty about it. You can see this. These little video clips allows you to go back and see kind of like highlights, right? See what happened within the game. But I'm not going to do this at this time. But we're going to scroll through and we're top. Were there concerns early in the season? I would say no, right? I would say no. Oh, Martin says he's free. All right, let me see. 1 second. Martin's free for a spell. This is actually an honor because he's on holiday from what I understand. So we get a little special treat. And I just heard, looks like I got pitch points backstage. Carl Gundalorian in the building, pitch points. How you doing, man?
I'm not very popular, but I'm good.
You're not very popular.
No, I'm not very popular right now, but I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
You're talking coach-wise? You're talking City fan life? What do you?
Oh, City fan-wise, man. I'm not very popular right now, but that's okay. I like that. I like it.
Okay. All right. Looks like Carl's taking on, similar to Pep when Pep made himself the lightning rod. He wanted all the smoke, all of the energy. Sounds like Carl's made himself a focal point within these times.
I'm trying to distract everybody from the very obvious media-driven agenda with this treble talk. Because here's what they're doing, right?
Okay.
Treble. If for whatever reason you don't win the FA Cup and you win the Champions League, oh, you're not as good as the United team of back then when they won the treble. Oh, it's a disgrace. You couldn't win 3. You just won the first Champions League. I see this. We know. We see it. We know exactly what's going on. Now, do I want to win all 3? 100%.
I see the game. Yes.
What is the eye, the focus, the drive, the thing we desire the most that we would trade? Let me ask you a question, Vader.
Mm-hmm.
De Bruyne, Haaland, Gundogan, Stones, and Rodri have niggles on Thursday, right?
Yeah, please don't reveal this.
No. What do? You play them on Saturday or you rest them for the big one?
If they have niggles, you're not playing them. you're resting them, or you're minimizing their minutes played. But yes, I
Vader, I'm not
yeah.
saying that the FA Cup is not important. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the treble won't be nice to have. What I'm saying is, for the second time in 3 years, we have ourselves in the final of the European Cup. The
Mm-hmm.
European Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is big, guy. This changes everything. My guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You win this. It changes everything. Signings, whatever, everything. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't win it, and you win the FA Cup against United, nothing changes. Nada. Nothing. Now, you win all three, okay, it's a cherry on the icing, on the ice cream. The FA Cup becomes, okay, we beat United, we got the treble. Oh, yeah, okay, good. We did that. But the last game of the season, you heard Inter. The goalkeeper said, we're going to die on this field. You heard that.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it changes. I mean, it opens the window to a glass ceiling that we haven't been able to crack. We beat United all the time. We beat them all the time. Heck, we beat United in the FA Cup semi-final a couple of years ago to get to the final. Slapped them 6-1.
Yeah, but that's a
beat them to the title.
that's a
we
semi.
beat them to the title in the Premier League with Sir Alex Ferguson at the helm. Glass ceiling is broken. Broken.
Yeah, but
the Cup final against United in the final, nah, just another game.
Yeah,
this one here.
Let me start these. Hold on.
This one here is the glass ceilings of glass ceilings. Because you're not guaranteed to get to another final again. You're not. You're guaranteed
no,
to
you're
United
not.
twice a year.
But the context is you're not guaranteed to face United in a final again. That's where it's different. Yes, we would play them again because we always face them. And again, we could possibly face Inter in a group stage, but not necessarily in a final. But I hear you with regards to the final standpoint. The thing that is I only challenge you on is I know the scope. I know the universe that opens up with the club winning the UCL, because then there's a different set of conversations that happen. Also, from a fan base standpoint, then there's more of the, oh, I've just witnessed you winning this. I'm now interested in your club. That also comes.
Brother, let me give you the context of this, right? Manchester City have just destroyed the kings of the Champions League, the king, right? You beheaded the king. 5 goals to 1 on aggregate. You destroyed the king. Before you destroyed the king, you completely destroyed the king of Germany in Bayern Munich, right? The two teams, arguably, who are the hardest to beat in this competition. You beat them back to back in 4 games, with an aggregate scoreline of 8 goals to 2. You have the opportunity to beat Inter Milan in one-off game.
Yeah.
Now, I get the whole United, and I get it. I understand it. Nostalgia, it's our neighbors, and Harvard. I get that. But in the annals of history, when they write the annals of history about what you achieved to get to the European Cup final and win it, nothing will compare to this. Nothing. There is nothing. We're not talking about Liverpool beating Spurs, right?
Is it because it would be our first? If City already had
first, it's how you went about getting there. It's Real Madrid.
Yeah.
It's Bayern Munich. It's not Benfica or Porto, or it's not that.
I got you. I hear you. I hear you on that one. And again, I would never be an advocate for the double, but I'm going to bring up a different point. The doors, the thing that opens, the scope that opens up because of us winning this Champions League, and again, to your point, the journey that it's taken, the juggernauts that have been in front of us that we've had to get past. It would be a huge, amazing accomplishment in that complete context. I think where it's also in the scope of a season, because again, I hear how the media's planting seeds and they're trying to position it that if it's not that, it's lesser. But when they do talk about a season, a three-peat, a treble, that's the excitement. That's the some fans of wanting it all. But I hear the call with regards
and I respect that. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I respect that, right? I'm just saying that, so let me give you the backstory, right? Growing up as a kid, didn't give a shit about the FA Cup. Couldn't care less about it. No emotion, no connection, nothing. Just an old cup that people play on a Saturday that happened to be in England. Didn't care, right?
Okay.
The emotion, the connection, what made me fall in love with the game was not the FA Cup. It was a European Cup. It was watching Romario at Barcelona, Maldini at AC Milan.
Yeah,
right?
so your
guys.
your access to the game was more emphasized with regards to the Champions League
George.
coverage.
It was Patrick Kluivert. It was Overmars. And watching Ajax play and the feeling, the nostalgia, the smell, the vibe I got from that. So for me, again, that's fair. If you like it, fair enough. For me, couldn't give two FA Cup. Couldn't care. Play the kids. But the European Cup, oh my God! I mean, when we lost to Chelsea last time around, right? Just to get to the final alone was for me a thing of joy. Yes, we lost the final. I wasn't distraught or heartbroken. I was happy to be in the final, to watch my team play in the final. So for me, that's my perspective. So when I talk about the fact that I have nothing with the FA Cup, I don't have any motive, nothing emotional about it. I couldn't care. When we won the quadruple with the FA Cup on the last day, okay, good game. Watford 7-0 or was 6-0. Yeah, okay, fine.
Okay.
Right? My regrets, the pain I felt against Tottenham in that quarterfinal, it broke me. I was
but that's also because of how it. Yeah, I mean the calls and the non-calls with regards to that, and the fact that we are kind of like, I agree. In terms of a team that I was like, they can do this. What I'm seeing, how I'm seeing them play that season, and falling out because of the loss to Tottenham, I was like, ugh, because I thought that was the best we've been in the Champions League to been able to have won it. So yeah, that was tough.
And last point, just be clear. I respect people's opinion on this. I do respect people's opinion. I understand where you're coming from. I get it. It's a day out. It's Wembley. It's the Sun. It's United. I get that. I do understand that. But there are many of us who just couldn't really care. Just does nothing for me. Just doesn't. Not United.
No. I hear that. I hear the reason why, and the reason why I know it's somewhat conflicting for others, right? And having your perspective and having a different slant of it. And those of you in the comments, feel free. I know Carl and I are going back, and Trouble Father just joined us. Thanks for being on the show, Martin.
No worries, mate.
And the point that I was just going to make is, but there's some portion of the fan base where the love of the club was more tied to its English games, like the Premier League in that time. So
I get that.
Yeah,
I respect that. I respect that. But then there's another perspective. I mean, I have friends of mine who are here. We talk about this all the time. In fact, I posted one on the WhatsApp group, and I asked just general question. Hey, look, how do you feel about the FA Cup? Am I the only one who feels this way? Like, nah, hell no. We don't care about the FA Cup. We don't. But that UCL, oh my God. There's a guy
I'm curious if in that same chat, if you were to ask, would they take a poor league performance for the UCL?
They would.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They would.
Okay.
Many of them would. Again, and maybe this is where we are today, is that you have opposing views of what success is by different fans who value certain things over the other. And that's fine. The conversation is a good conversation. We're lucky to be in this conversation, to be frank, to be fair. Right? I respect the opinions of those who want the FA Cup. I get it. I respect that. I just have no emotional connection to it. I just don't. My connection is with the Premier League, but even more the Champions League. I mean, I ask 7-year-old kids who I coach every single day. We talk about this. Okay, what do you think about the FA Cup, the Champions League? These are guys in the academy, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Coach, what is that? What is the FA Cup? Well, it's a just domestic cup that was a long time ago. It's hundreds of years old. They know about Mbappe. They know about the Champions League. They know about that stuff. They're expecting the game on the 10th. They're having a watch party on June 10th. They're not having a watch party on June 3rd.
Is that not sad, though?
No, it's not. It's just where they are.
To me, that's sad. And I don't mean sad as it. I think it's sad for the game.
It's what it is, Martin. It's the sign of the times. This is where they are.
No, I understand that, but I get what you're saying, and I respect anybody like yourself. Champions League. See, we're the opposite. Where I grew up with the FA Cup final. You watched it from 8 in the morning until 8 at night.
Yep.
You watched the coach arriving, from leaving the hotels, putting on the suits, the coach being greeted in by thousands and thousands of fans. From the whole day out, the national anthem, everything, the fireworks, everything that went with it. And there was even a debate a couple of years back about putting a Champions League place on the line for the FA Cup. So, to me, the FA Cup is one of the big trophies in England. I understand it may not be in Europe. My other issue for what it is that treble. It is part of the treble. The treble.
Mm. That's fair.
It's part of the three of it. And to me, this team deserves, and our manager and our players deserve to be classed as the best in the world. And sadly, whether we like it or we don't like it, if we don't win the treble, they're not going to be up there with that 99 United team in a lot of people's eyes because we didn't get the three.
I agree with you, Martin. But here's the problem, right? Is I don't care about the 99 United team. I just want to be European champion. It doesn't do anything, right? And this is the debate, right? I couldn't care less about United. They're irrelevant to me. They're just not.
Yes, I get that. Well, that's your perspective, and I get that. Maybe it's me. I live around them all. I go to work with them all. Yeah. And people are like Daniel's put in the comment, it's banter for a week. Trust me now, where I am will not be banter for a week.
Oh, trust me, Martin. You in the
if they stop it won't, honestly, Carl. If they stop us getting the treble, they'll live on that for 10 years.
You get the European Cup, Martin. You get the next one and the next one. There will be nowhere for them to hide.
No, you see, this is well, there's a lot of fans here, Carl, that don't even go to Champions League games. I do. I know a lot of fans who are seen to go who don't even go to Champions League games.
Trust me, listen.
They just won't go to it.
If you win the European Cup this year, right? United fans will have a leg to stand on.
No, so
they will because they'll still have the treble to hang over us, Carl, and they've won it 3 times.
Well, like Arsenal and Invincibles. How much do we care about that? Nobody cares about
I'm that. You look at Arsenal fans. Arsenal fans are still living on Invincibles now.
As a host, let me do this real quick. If we were, because again, and I very much understand, guys, this week 38, talking about weakest and strongest, that may get kiboshed for another show. We'll see, depending on time. But I do want you guys to kind of think about that. Let me say this, because with 2 young kids that they are learning about the Premier League, they're learning about Manchester City, but all they first consume is what they see on the screen. So they see the first game of the season, or they see us playing in the League Cup, and they're like, "Oh, Daddy, the team just played so-and-so. Why are they playing them again?" And you kind of explain things. So I get that, like some young fans realizing what the League Cup is, what the FA Cup is, the significance of that. And then also in terms of international fans, I know watch parties that are just to watch Champions League, not necessarily because your team's playing, right? Like groups of kids that want together because they want to see the final of Champions League, not because the team that they follow is playing in that final. So there is that type of shift, and I think that's also why there was that big bang spark of Super League talk, because there's a portion of the fans that, again, don't really think about things domestically. They just want to see what's been branded as the best competition and want to see their club raise that trophy. So it's kind of tied that way. I get to the point where I would want my club to match the Invincibles, if at all possible. If it came down to the last game of the season, let me know in the comments. Last game of the season, we had our choice of resting players to be ready to play in the FA Cup the next week, or 2 weeks to play in Champions League. But we had a chance of closing out the season as an invincible, undefeated. I'm going to want that for my club. And I think that's the energy that some fans have with, we're so close to, yes, matching what United have done. I want that for my club as well. Because no one's saying, Carl, no one's saying that they want the FA, not the UCL, right?
Yeah, I get that, Vin. I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying that it's either or. What I'm saying is that there's a perspective out there which I happen to have, which is, and I respect the fact that people want the FA Cup. I get that. I just don't have the emotional connection to it. Just don't.
That's fine. Yeah,
but I was going to say, in the same vein, Carl would also understand why a portion of City fans care less, or quote unquote boo the UCL.
I get it.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I say that, people say, "Oh wow, how can you not have connection to the FA Cup?" I just do not. It's
a weird thing, Baker, because you saw the split on the Super League. There was a lot of fans who wanted the Super League. A lot of people in the UK went absolute crazy over it and went no thanks. You know, Tottenham, Arsenal, there was thousands protesting, and it got shut down. And I know it may have got shut down for different reasons, but it got stopped. I think, sadly, and it always comes back to the same debate, and it's an awful debate because everyone should be accepted. It all comes down to your home base and your global fans. And it shouldn't be that way. Why can't we all just disagree to agree, or all have a different opinion, but we all love the same football club?
Right. But
Carl has grown up with the Champions League. You know, you got to remember and Carl, like you said, he watched Romario. A lot of City fans didn't watch the Champions League at all until they got into it hardly.
Yeah.
Because there was no interest for it there for us.
Yeah.
We had no interest.
Well, I'll also say this. I don't know if it was the same for you, Carl, but coverage of the Champions League was more readily available than the Premier League. The Premier League for me was a premium channel. Champions League came on like standard kind of cable.
Right. So, and that's what I'm saying, that from an emotive perspective, from an emotional perspective, you know, I've been to Manchester a number of times, right? I'll never go to Old Trafford because I just not going to go there. It's not, I don't care to go there. I don't want to go there. I'm not going to visit. Nothing. Nada. None. Right? Been to the Etihad many, many times, many tours, right? Many games. Anfield, don't touch it. Now, I've been to Stamford Bridge because my friend goes there. I went with him, right? Okay. I'll go to Palace. I'll go to Watford because I have friends who support Watford, and you know, it's a nice place, you know. But never to Anfield, never to United. Won't do it. Spurs, God forbid, won't touch it. The Emirates, I've been to the Emirates with a client, right? Someone paid for the tickets. I went in for a game. It was against Spurs, which they lost, by the way. Arsenal lost, right? But when it comes to the emotion I feel with competitions, the Premier League is obvious, right? The UCL becomes, I mean, I'm so blessed just to see my club that I happen to love and support be there again in the final. You know, the whole drive for me this season was get to the final, get to the final, get to the final. If we get to the final, I believe we can win it. Again, get to the final. Whatever we have to do, get to the final. Right? Now, the Bayern Munich game was the most nervous game I felt. I wasn't cared. The Madrid game I wasn't worried about much. It was the Bayern game I was worried about. Because I know what Bayern can do in transition, which is the issue. The Madrid game, I wasn't worried about, especially because second I wasn't home. Martin will bear me out witness on this.
Yeah, I think the more the stress was just because it was a flipped leg. Like the fact that we were playing the second one away.
But I want us to be prepared, right? That if we do lose to United on Saturday, which is a possibility, a very near possibility, right? That we could lose to them. for whatever reasons, VAR, referee decisions, the fact that the league does not really want us to win the treble. Let's be clear. League don't want us to win the treble.
Of course.
They don't.
We say this on CIA all the time. They're against
us as a league, right? If whatever happens, we lose it. It's not the end of the world. There's a bigger fish to fry, which is 7 days afterwards. So I'm not investing my emotion in a game that I have no emotive connection to. That I don't know.
No, I get what Carl's saying. I do get what he's saying. It's like me many years ago when I was back in 1997, 98. I turned up with 3,500 fans to watch Mansfield Town in the auto windscreen. I couldn't give a damn about the auto windscreen trophy. But to me, it was just, City are playing, I'm there, I'm going to back him. I don't know Carl will back us on Saturday. I get it. 100%. I get what he's saying. I get what a lot of fans are saying. The difference is with me is, I'm just of the belief is, if you get into if you want to do this treble, which has only been done once in 24 years, may I add. By the way, happy anniversary, 24 years to everyone. The day we got back.
Yeah.
But think about it this way. One team has done it in 24 years. One. Only one. Mm-hmm. And we have it rammed down our throats. Day in, day out. Week in, week out. Every 5 damn minutes. We're the treble with us. You're never going to be better than us.
Yeah.
It ends in 2 weeks. If we do our things right, Pepper's rested all these boys down for 3 weeks for 2 reasons. For both games. They'll all be back sat there. They'll have a week's rest. They'll all be back then they go out to Istanbul. And by the way, and then we do it out there. If City perform the way they can perform, we get it done. And then on the Monday, the 12th of June, we parade around Manchester with the 3 biggest trophies that Manchester City can win.
Yeah.
Capable to them. And then that shuts everybody up. And by the way, it won't shut everybody up, because if we only win 1 Champions League, the next thing is, where's your second one? Yeah. Chelsea won more than you.
And I'm cool with all of that.
And I can give it down.
When it happens, because we know
the joy of this data is the fact that we are right here having this debate. This debate that is a debate for what I call the elite, if you would, right? I mean, we're having this debate about which one do we want? Do we prefer?
Yeah, right. Yeah, this winning culture has led to some amazing things
in your back pocket, right? You have
just listen to Treble Father. We're getting all 3 of the daddies, and we're parading around on Monday, going hello. Don't worry.
It's an amazing moment that we're here actually having this debate, because it's incredible. This team is incredible. The fan base is incredible. It's an incredible fan base. With different perspectives, different views. It's amazing. Now, do I want us to win the treble? 100%. 100%.
I'm going to put this comment on screen because it made me chuckle. But Daniel goes, I don't want to see a world for a player like KDB or Gundo ends his career without a UCL. Daniel, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. And I want to see
so David Silva and Aguero go out without one.
I know. Unfortunately, they're no longer here, but I'm sure the sentiment lives with them as well. I'm gonna say this because I know it's different for every fan and their surrounding, their perspective. Never to the same degree to actually living in Manchester, but it's more if there were 10 fans, there was like 1 City fan in my life, like in my surroundings. If you're around and you're kind of talking football, or you come across someone, it was like 1 in 10 if I'm lucky, right? So when I say hate, I mean in the context of sport. I hate United. And I've heard about their successes for a lifetime. So when it comes down to when we talk about the emotion connection, for me, it's like, I've heard this story way too many times. And if we do it, and we have such an amazing opportunity we look at the quality of the players around us, we look at how we've been playing. When we talk about the emotional connection, I have it for this. I have it because it's like at our fingertips. But I want to ask you this before you go, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
And then let me put this on screen because
Mm-hmm.
maybe if I cycle through it, it might jog your memory. But we started this season at FA Community Shield losing 3-1. Then we won West Ham. We won West Ham 2-0. We won 4-0 Bournemouth. We drew 3-3. Pep doing 2 inverted. Maximus kind of got us a little bit. We had an interrupted season with the friendly versus Barca. City 4-2 Crystal. 6-0 versus Forest. 1-1 Aston Villa. Then we went in Champions League. We won 4-0. 2-1 Dortmund. 3-0 Wolves. Came back 6-3 versus United. Champions League back 5-0 versus Copenhagen. Southampton 4-0. Copenhagen again 0-0. Liverpool we lose 1-0. Confidence level, weakness or strength in what the team can do. Was it wavering at all with that 1-0 versus Liverpool?
No, because it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Cool. I'm cool with you. Let me continue on.
Yeah.
We got Brighton, because I know you got to go. We got Brighton 3-1. Dortmund 0-0. That leg was dead anyways. We won. Now we play Leicester. We won 1-0. Go back to Champions League 3-1 versus Seville. Man City 2-1 versus Fulham. And then League Cup, we got 2-0 versus Chelsea. We lose 2-1 to Brentford. Where is your confidence level? Strong, weak?
No shaking. We know this team.
Okay.
We know this team. I mean, who's chasing us? Arsenal? Come on.
Arsenal are leading. They're clearly in lead.
We know this team. I mean, this is what, with all the things Martin and I disagree on, and there are many things he and I disagree on, right? Because we both love the club, more so he than me because he's been there for a long time. We all believe, him and I believed unequivocally that we'll be fine. In fact, what we actually did was we found the solutions to what was going on, and we looked at what Pep was going to change, which is the 3-box-3. And once we saw that, we were cool.
So, but before seeing it, before solving it, because then you're looking for answers, right? Because you found that as an answer. So you had some questions.
Right.
Where do you think? What point in the season do you think those questions were maybe strongest? Was it?
For me, what I was looking for was a pattern of play. What was he doing to figure out the problem? What was he changing? And that's the process. If there was no process, then I would be worried. There was a process, and the process will work itself out. And ergo, here we are today. Now, your question is, did I ever feel weak throughout? No, not at all.
I'm gonna challenge you on that one.
No, I didn't feel. No, I agree with him, Bayer. I didn't feel.
No,
I didn't.
I know you two way too well. I understand that you had confidence that we were going to win.
Do you know the weak? No, honestly, I can answer the weakest question was the Newcastle 3-3 because I could see the system he was doing exactly all the way back. I could see the system he was doing.
No, guys, in the comments, do you believe that Martin had his weakest moment with regards to us doing what we had to do for the season early versus Newcastle with the 3-3?
I can see that though.
Yeah, no, I explain why, because if you go back,
how many goals?
That was when Kyle Walker couldn't do the invertedness against. He couldn't cope with ASM doing inverted. And I thought that was my only question was, I know what system he's doing. I don't think we've got the personnel for it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was my question.
I would agree with that.
When it became the strongest was obviously the Cancelo out and Pep's press conference. That's when I drove.
Your weakest moment was August 21st.
Yeah.
Guys.
The 3-3, I mean, we consider 3 goals.
Yes.
Right? That's the only time we've considered 3 goals in the whole season.
So the Brentford 2-1.
Except for United at home.
No,
Brentford 2-1.
No, it was before the World Cup, and half of them were had their heads at guitar already.
Brentford 2-1 was just we expected that to happen
because that was leading into the World Cup.
Yeah.
All the players had switched off.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So coming back.
And Brentford did very well, to be fair.
United 2-1. I was furious. United 2-1.
No, I wasn't a few minutes there. I was fuming at the officials on that one.
I got to run, guys. I got to run. But
All right.
No
Carl,
worries.
I'm challenging you on the next show. I'm challenging you on the next
no, come
show.
back. We'll come back to that show. Hey, everyone, just real quick. So I'll be talking about Inter after the FA Cup. Guys, we've studied, all of us, 23 games of Inter. We have the solutions for you. Tune in.
Okay.
We will break it down to what Inter does, what they do, what they don't do well, and what we need to do to win against them. So look out for that. It's going to be interesting, guys. Lots of data coming.
Awesome. Make sure you, and again, Carl's channel, Pitch Points, True City Fan. Details are in the description. Make sure you sub it, get that notification. Thanks for being on the show, Carl.
You find me on here. You find me on the McCunion Way. We'll talk about this on all those shows, so you get to hear it time and time.
We've got a big countdown. We've got a big countdown to Champions League coming in.
We'll be all over the show. We'll all be on the same shows, guys. So look out for all the dates and the content that's coming. It's going to be incredible. All right, take care.
Man. Thanks, man.
And Vega, I've got to jump in a minute before you challenge me. Honestly, if you read DC comment, you know yourself. I've been the treble father since about October time. I have literally drove this treble train. And you laughed at me. You laughed at me for a long time. In fact, the only reason I know it is because I did a video on my channel about December time, telling everyone to relax and calm.
You're telling us to relax in December.
Yeah, because everyone. No, do you remember? Everyone was going mental. 3-2-2-3 doesn't work. Bring in 3. Everyone wanted a winger in January. Do you remember? They all wanted wingers.
February 5th, we lost 1-0. Didn't score a goal versus Tottenham for whatever the third.
We never win at Tottenham. We've never scored at Tottenham.
No, but that's why it was so frustrating. That's why I was like, oh, what's going on here?
It can't be frustrated on something that always happens.
Well, we're supposed to be playing so much better, and then we're.
No, honestly, there's 2 places. I never expect to get anything at Anfield, and I never expect to do anything at Tottenham. They're just 2 games you write off. At some point, we'll do something there, but we just never have. I don't know why. We must have some. We must have some voodoo or something over Tottenham and Liverpool at Anfield. I don't know why we do it. We just turn up and crumble. I don't know. Anyone knows the answer to that? Please let us know, because Pat doesn't even know why we do it.
Okay.
But honestly, I've been so. Do you know what it was with me, Baker? I was happy with second place, and that's crazy to think. What I mean is, I was sat there. Just remember, I said was on one of your shows, and I went, "If we don't win anything this year, so be it."
Okay, so I would say coming to that acceptance is maybe your weakest.
Probably, yeah.
So I know you got to go, but think of when in the season you probably said, you know what? If we get second, it's not the end of the world.
That was about October time.
Okay. All right. We got there. Yeah,
but when you say weakest, you think the meltdowns. I'm like, what are we doing? I've never this season. I've been so relaxed. I've been more. As like I said, I've even got rid of Cityitis this season, mate. Cityitis is gone.
Yeah, but the Cityitis, that strength, that confidence, I believe that's grown as we've continued to play, right? That's probably grown. And I see Klinical's in the building. But for you to be like, if we get second this season, it's not the worst thing in the world. And to remain calm is because you kind of already accepted second.
It's never trophies or medals. It's just, as long as I'm watching Manchester City, mate, I'm an happy guy. As long as I'm watching them, like I said, I'll watch them train on a car park out the back.
I got you.
As long as I'm watching them, I am an happy guy. This is bonuses for me. I never thought I'd see any of this.
I know you got to go. Klilnical, I'm gonna ask you the same question. I'm also gonna reveal when I was weakest, so stay tuned.
When Martin called himself Treble Father.
But love as always, man. Thanks for being on the show. And his channel details are in the description. He's on holiday. He's decompressing. He's recharging to be back for a fierce 2 weeks. So
I'm back Saturday morning and straight to Wembley.
Okay, awesome.
My car is parked at the airport, ready to go down to London.
Excellent. I'm gonna get to these comments and Klilnical.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Get this
Clinical, you
guy
gotta
at
tell me.
500. Smash those likes.
Appreciate it, man. We're creeping on it. Clinical, you got to let me know when I say weakest. I'm gonna deal with the weakest. When was the weakest moment for you with regards to? I don't know if we're winning this league. And thanks for being on the show, man. Thanks for jumping on. How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I was actually listening from about 15 minutes in or so. So I heard basically the discussion from that point up to now. But I would say my weakest point in the season was that United game that we had played.
When we played at OT.
Yeah, when we lost. Yeah. And it's not necessarily because of that game in itself, but a couple weeks before we had drawn to Everton, and that game was terrible. We barely created anything.
I'll put that on screen.
We had several players that were not on form. We didn't control the midfield in that game, which was a big red flag for me in terms of, Pep and how he wants to approach the majority of our games. So that had a lot of alarm bells in my head. And then we beat Chelsea twice, but again, it's Chelsea. They were in that terrible period of time. So just after that, it was Southampton. We lost to them, and again, abysmal game. I know that we did a bit of rotation.
That's what I'm saying. Clinical. Thank you, man. I needed you here. I needed you here when Carl and Martin were here because, again, for Martin, he gets a bly because he is like, you know what? Earlier in October, he was like, if we don't win it, it's not the end of the world. So he was going to be calm because he wasn't thinking of winning it. I didn't concede losing this league, so I'm having moments of frustration because of so Carl said Newcastle when we drew 3-3, that's probably the weakest he felt with regards to but he figured things were going to work out because he realized what Pep was trying to do. But as you just pointed out, and I put it on screen, 1-1 to Everton. Yeah, we win 1-0 in the league to Chelsea, but we should have smashed them actually. We then do smash them in the FA Cup, like you mentioned, but then we lose to Southampton in League Cup when we're supposed to be in like.
We scored nothing in that game, even when we brought on Haaland.
Yeah, it was a trash game, and we followed that up with another loss. Like, nah, man, and again,
in this period of time, I was thinking we need to start picking up points to catch Arsenal. Yes. So then we took all these points, and the performances are just so poor. I was just. And we, even though Martin did mention that a big problem in that United game were the referee decisions or lack thereof, but in that first half, again, we didn't do much to threaten them. I think Grealish scored in the second half, if I'm not mistaken, when he came on. But in that first half, it was just a big bunch of nothing. They sat back and we could not break them down. So that didn't give me much confidence, especially after losing to Southampton.
And again, there's no shame in saying, you know what, I'm looking at how the team's playing. I'm hearing some of the post-match interviews or post-match comments, and I'm just like, something's off. I don't know if this is happening this year. There's nothing wrong with saying it. Like, that's what we do. Fans, it's all about emotion. But that run of games was like, oh, what the heck is happening here? Like, we're so inconsistent. In a way, and also, the goals kind of dried up a little bit in terms of how we were dominating teams, and then to your point, we go through that, suffering a loss to Southampton, then United, and then we get 4-2, and it was a comeback. Remember, it was a comeback to Tottenham, and men's were losing it at halftime when we were in the spaces or in the group chat or whatever. People were losing their minds that game.
To just add to that, though, Vader, for me personally, that game, I wasn't necessarily as upset like the previous games beforehand. Because if you go back and look at the goals that were scored, and people looked at me like I was crazy when I said this at the time.
You're talking about the Spurs game?
I think, the Spurs game. I think they were score both of those goals.
Yeah, they were errors in.
I think one of them was the Rodri error, that one bad game he's had all season. Yeah. And then the next one
was a bad clearance. I think Ederson just cleared it into the path of
Emerson Royal. It just landed right on his head from the clearance, and he just headed it in. In my opinion, when I watched that goal over,
Mhm.
I can't necessarily blame one of our players. Like, you were at fault for why we conceded this second goal.
Yeah.
Ederson did what he was supposed to do by clearing it out. It just happened to fall over Royale, and he wasn't necessarily like right next to him. It's not like he just punched it 1 foot away. Like it was just an unfortunate goal to concede. And then the reaction that we had in the second half is exactly what we needed.
So I'm gonna say this, and again, I'm glad you're able to jump on the show. I wanted to talk about, when, and again in the comments, when were you at your weakest for this season? And mine was for that time frame, because at the same time, if you think about media-wise, you also hear who's leading by Christmas, right? Who's leading by the New Year? And I gave it a little more time because the World Cup kind of interrupted things. So it's like, let's get into our groove. Let's start stringing together these wins. And we weren't stringing together the wins. We were getting 2-3 in a row, get a draw or a loss, and we just didn't have that continuous win streak. Obviously, we did it to close out the season, right? So we're cool. But in that December 31st was the Everton game. But in that January time frame, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is happening. And I don't know who said it earlier. It might have been Daniel, but Daniel says his weakest was Brentford at home, and obviously the United, like that United no offside call was trash. I hated that. I remember I was on Martin's stream because my daughter was at a birthday party. I was just in the car venting. Like, I was furious at that result. I was like hot for like 2 hours. It was bothering me. But I agree also with Daniel when he goes to, when did you feel like at your strongest for the season? And it was Champions League related. Like, for me, with the form that we showed in the first and second leg, like the control, and it's obviously that 4-0 versus Real was like, we're doing this against them at this time in the season. Peak powers type settings.
Regarding the Brentford game, I don't think we were necessarily terrible that game, but it was a deflating game. That's definitely up there for me.
It was lackluster. The same way we took that 2-0 loss to Southampton. There was no spark. There was no.
Yeah, and Brentford were just better than us that day, in my opinion. They wanted it more, and their game plan was absolutely excellent. So it was just very deflating for me. But I 100% agree with that Madrid game that Daniel mentioned. If you can put in that level of control in that particular game, I understand what you were saying in the first leg, but aside from being at home, Madrid fans always speak on, it doesn't matter if it's home or away. They just look towards the second leg. They know that's one. That's where they're the most confident, and they offered nothing against us at the Etihad. So if you look at all those together, and then the fact that that's the game to push us into the final, like, that was an absolute high for every City fan at the moment.
I would agree. I got to shout out DC in the building. He goes, the first half against Real Madrid at home was some of the best football I've ever watched in my life. DC, trust me. And the first half against Real Madrid last season, we were wasteful, but the way we attacked them too, I think Real Madrid's they're gonna wake up in cold sweats. They're gonna have like some nightmares thinking about City playing us in the future. Trust me. Now, CIA week 38. I kind of said this at the jump, but let me remind you. I'm not sure if everyone got a chance to hear this, but obviously the season for us isn't over. We've got an FA Cup versus Manchester United, and we have Champions League versus Inter. Now, I'm not going to do any player ratings. I'm not going to do any best moments because the season's not over. There may be better moments to come. So we're going to wait on that one. Maybe I think it might make sense depending on how celebrations go, but I'm not going to do a full recap until June 12th. I think that might make the most sense. Day in between June 12th. What day is actually June 12th? Let me look that up. But let's put that on our calendar. June 12th is a Wednesday. Ooh. Yeah, that might be the date right now. But I'm allowed to change it. But June 12th. And I think what we'll also do, because I want to be really aware of time, we're going to revisit the weakest and strongest moments, because I didn't get a chance to hear it from Carl. I didn't get a chance to hear it from Martin. True City fan. He's I know he's watching, but he's at work right now. I'm going to want to get everyone, all the agents. Let me get the agents' take with regards to this. I think it's a nice way to kind of like do a present time thinking about this season, and move on from there. But let me remind you, and if you haven't, hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe. If you're watching this on a replay, hit me up in the comments. I really enjoy anything, like all the things you have to say in the comments, because it gives me a chance to see what really connected with you or what questions you have on it. But let me remind you, for Thursday, you're not going to want to miss this show. Thursday, you're not going to want to miss this show. I'm going to be dealing with all of these topics right here. All of those. Silver lining, yes, we suffered another loss to Brentford. Are they our new Spurs? Are Brentford our new Spurs? But we did suffer a loss, but we didn't suffer a loss with regards to injuries, and I think that's where we got the win. Healthy bodies, because no one went down within that game. That was most important. But I'm going to deal with all of these topics. We got to go over the goal scoring. I know we had some numbers up there. And we didn't even exceed the amount of goals scored last year. Last year in the league, we scored 99, and I believe this year we scored 94. So we're going to go over that, talk about who may need to step up, who do we expect to kind of get there next year. We're going to talk about Haaland's Golden Boot. I addressed it a little bit. Winning culture. What a time to be alive. What a time to be able to witness what City is doing right now, when many of the stories that we had to hear and some of us had to experience weren't at this level of winning. And we're going to talk about the all finals or big games. We got the possible 11 versus United. We're going to deal with that. And I'm going to share with you, you may disagree. FIFA probably is going to disagree, but we're going to talk about Phillips and Palmer. I like what I saw versus Brentford. I did like what I happened to see versus Brentford. Let me go to the comments. Dre P goes, I think the key is that most of the first team did not play versus Brentford. Does that affect them? I don't think so. I think Pep's going to get the work out of them in training. And they're veteran players. They played so much football this season. I don't think there's rust to play against United. I think they're going to come out like fierce. So despite not playing against Brentford, I think they're going to be ready. Dre P goes, I know athletes, if they don't think a game has anything riding on it, they would not go all out. And some would say they rather skip the game. It is tough, especially Dre P, when we looked at the World Cup and players not wanting to suffer an injury or knowing like, I still have this many more games to dictate whether I win this league or not. Why risk anything for this one? I agree with you. It's kind of tough, man. But how you get to athletes is knowing that it's accumulation. What you do today leads into you being better tomorrow. Not all athletes can understand that, but I hear you, JP. Klilnical, anything you want to shout out with regards to the remainder of the week? What you got going on?
So since I've been in Atlanta for the past 10 days or so, I haven't really been able to upload any content from down there. But seeing that we're in this period of the season right now, I was definitely thinking to resume uploading on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Okay.
Champions League schedule style, basically.
Nice.
I'll be doing twice a week for basically the whole summer period. And we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about, including that Phillips video that I still have coming. And those games that he played recently does give me extra points to add into. So
nice.
that page of defense that I have for him, definitely be there for that. And I will definitely let you know when that is as well. If you would like, I could also do it on StreamYard, and you could join me if you're free on the day, and we can have that discussion. So
yeah, give me the heads up in the group chat, and then we can link up, because I also want to know when you get a chance to jump online and whether you play or you get some reps in? What is it generally after a work day?
So I usually do anytime before a game, like as soon as the lineups are out. But at the same time, I try to get streams in between as well, because I.
But when do you just game, not necessarily for content, but you just put a game, get your games in? Do you have like a?
It would most likely be on the weekend.
Okay.
That's when I know that everyone or it's more likely that people would be at home and be able to join me. I know a lot of people told me they can't make a lot of my weekday streams, which is perfectly fine and understandable. So I try to like save those times for on the weekend.
Nice.
And, no shade or anything, but I do hope you keep your head up, because I see you ducking me for a little bit.
Listen, I'm gonna exchange. This is what I'm gonna do. Because listen, as a gamer, I played in the league IEGA, and Edison wasn't on the stream today, but I know him because of how we played. We linked up through PlayStation 4 at the time. So, but nah, I game, and my crew, my group of friends, I'm old school. I remember I gamed sitting on the same couch, one TV. Like,
right.
I get at it that way. My trash talk is like that. So no, we'll get our games in. There's no ducking. Let me get my reps in. I just need maybe a weekend, and yeah, we'll go Manchester City versus Manchester City, my squad versus your squad, and we'll see who gets it done. But nah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
100%. And I do also want to mention one more thing, and it's something that Pep said a while back. I'm not entirely sure when, but guys, it's okay. It's perfectly fine if you're nervous, because it's a great feeling to be nervous. It means we're there. You other teams, look at Brentford, for example, and look at Aston Villa right now. They aren't necessarily feeling anything by the end of the season, except how we ended our season. We're not done yet. We're still feeling that nervous feeling because we're in these finals. I heard Carl mention that as well. Like, we can have these discussions and these conversations. That's a great thing. And we have to turn this feeling of nerves into what's going to push us to cheer the team on even more. Personally, I'm not ready to speak on the Champions League as yet. It's in my mind, but the FA Cup is at the forefront, and that's how I want the players to approach it as well. Because if we win that FA Cup final with the Champions League at the forefront of our mind, then we're gonna get beat in the FA Cup because of how strong United is looking to come to end our treble, and then that loss might affect the Champions League run, because I play a lot of the players who will be playing in that final, in the FA Cup final as well. So
I'm with you on that one.
To bounce into that on another win as well. Especially
we'll get into it. We're definitely going to get into it. Daniel, I see the comment. I want to point out, he's ready to call Vader a teacher in fluent UCL. We can talk that language after the final. Trust me. We'll be talking. We'll be in conversation. We'll be translating. We will be like Rosetta Stones for those that don't quite speak it. I'm with you on that one, Daniel. But we do have the FA Cup first. And I'm going to talk about winning culture most importantly, as you just mentioned, Klilnical. It's that winning culture to deal with winning with what's in front of you, because that does propel you. That does give you momentum to continue winning. I don't think you can look to not play your best to choose to play your best later on. I think there's a certain approach that's required for those of us that have been athletes. You know that you don't take reps off. That's not how you approach being consistently good. So I want to shout out Daniel in the building, Klilnical for joining and being here, featuring, as well as Martin the Mancunian Way and Carl Pitch Points Gundalorian. Thank you all for being here. Daniel wants to say it's hilarious, man. We're gonna be talking nonstop. Don't miss my next show. Thanks for being a part of this show, CIA Week 38. CIA Intelligent Agendas. You know how we do. Daniel with the comment goes, we will go to the Emirates next season singing Champions of England. You'll never sing that. Fire, Daniel. My guy, Klilnical, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my bad. Actually, Daniel made a correction. You were right. We are champions of England, and they can't say that because they wouldn't have been, but we'll also be champions of Europe. And I got you on that one, Daniel. Julian just joining. 3 hearts and 3 sharks. Don't miss the next show. Thanks for being a part of this one. Vader Games TV. This is the newest episode of CIA, episode 12, Manchester 3-peat. When was your weakest, strongest moment? Go back and check this out. Appreciate it. I'm out.